Doc Talk. Yeah, we keeping it smooth. Your favorite paralegal got the legal groove. From the stars in the courtroom to your cousin's case, we breaking it all down. No rush, just pace.
What's good, fam? Welcome to Legal Doc Talk. I am Cassandra, aka your favorite paralegal, and we are going to be diving into the full transcripts for Karmelo Anthony. As I stated last week, um, there are a lot of pages, and I think I got through uh, the first June 1st. And then I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to read them, then go over and read them again, only to do a video. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and read them out loud. And then it will just kind of be straightforward with no interruptions other than me making comments here and there. Also, I felt like it would be best not to go live because I know people will have questions and things of that nature. So I want to kind of treat it like a podcast. Well, podcast, or something where you can just like, okay, I just want to hear the transcripts without all of the extra, such and such. So I'm going to go as long as I can on these. Now this, the one that I'm pulling up, I believe it is June 1st. So how I am going to label the videos is by date. So that way you guys can, listen to it on your own time, and you can go in order based on the date. So what you see on your screen is, so this is volume 4. Okay, well, maybe I just told a story. Hold on, let me just make sure I am in the right file. Okay, so yeah, so this is the 4. Oh yes, and I'm losing my mind. Okay, so with the partial transcripts, we've already gone over the partial transcripts. Those is what I did back in July, and I actually have that. It's in members and it's also viewable public. Okay, so the partial transcripts was June 1st, the 3rd, and partially the 8th. The remainder of this is the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe. There's 9 volumes of this, all right? So this is June 4th, okay? This is June 4th. So let me go ahead. And as you can see, this is the index. Defense witnesses via Zoom, case called by court, jury sworn in, the indictment read, opening from the state, opening by the defense. These are the witnesses. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And as you can see, 296 pages. The exhibits, I also did a video of that going over the exhibits, and that's what was posted on Collin County website. So we did go over the photos, we did go over the videos, we did go over the 911 calls. Definitely go back and watch that video or listen. I do have a Karmelo Anthony playlist, so that way you can actually go in and watch whatever video you need to watch in regards to this case. All right, so this is 7:44 a.m. So okay, the court. Okay, Rollins, we are going on the record. I need blank to turn on her camera, please. Okay, I am Judge Roach. We are on the record in the state versus Anthony. The court is the only person present. At the request of the defense, the court is swearing in the potential witnesses in this case, and we will go through their names in just a moment. Everybody raise their right hand who is going to testify. Do you and each of you solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give in this cause? Well, hang on. We've got some. Put your hand down again. We have some more people coming in. I need blank to turn on his camera on, and I have a hand up from blank. Do you need something? Okay, here we go. All right. Again, I'm Judge Roach. I am the judge presiding over this case. I have been requested by the defense to swear in their witnesses, and for convenience sake and the sake of just keeping the traffic down at the courthouse, I agreed to do this by Zoom. So we will try this again. Everybody that is going to potentially testify in this case, raise your right hand. The court, I have to get you to respond out loud. Okay? Put your hands down. They all said yes. I am having a little problem hearing y'all, so let me see if I can make an adjustment. All right, Miss Cole, Cammy Cole, can you hear me? Okay, I am having a hard time. Let me see if I can change this over. Okay, Miss Cole, can you try to talk to me again? Okay, give me a second. Miss Cole, can you hear me? Okay, for some reason, I can't get it, so I am going to do it this way for the record. Miss Cole, did you receive the oath? Just nod your head. She nodded her head affirmatively. Adam Linwood, are you here? I don't see Adam Linwood. Oh, there he is. I see you right there. Mr. Linwood, did you take the oath? Nod your head, yes or no. Okay. He has noddedly affirmatively. Dr. Violet Ianokov. I messed up his name, y'all. Okay, ma'am, did you hear my oath? Okay, she nodded affirmatively. Blank, where is that? Okay, not here. Blank, did you take the oath? Okay, nodded affirmatively. Blank, okay, I do not see that person. Blank, I do not see that person either. Blank, okay, did you take the oath? Nodded affirmatively. Blank, did you take the oath? Nodded affirmatively. Blank, it should be blank. I'm sorry, Mr. Blank, right? I'm sorry, Miss Blank. You took the oath. She not she nodded affirmatively. Blank, okay, did you take the oath? Okay, nodded affirmatively. Blank, okay, did you take the oath? Nodded affirmatively. Melissa Wallace. It should be Marissa. I can't hear you, ma'am. Oh, Miss Wallace, there you go. I see you. I got it. I can't hear anybody, so I am trying to do the best I can. So I see you are there. If you need something, holler at me. You know how to get a hold of me. I do have blank. It looks like now. Did you take the oath? Were you here for that or not? You were. Okay. He has nodded affirmatively. All right. Since y'all are going to be potential witnesses in this case, the rule of sequestration has been invoked. What that means from this point forward, you are not allowed to talk to anyone about the case. That means your parents, anybody that has been previously testified, you can't talk to anybody at all. You are not to be within hearing distance of anyone discussing the case. So, even for example, last night I was at a restaurant and people started talking about the case. I had to get up and excuse myself from the restaurant because I can't be around people talking about the case. And that applies to you as well. I think that we're going to order you to come back on Monday. Miss Wallace, is that true? Or Saturday? Well, I think I'm going to need you on Saturday, okay? So I'm going to order you, and you can work through the investigator, Miss Wallace. I'm going to order each of you to work with them, but I am ordering you to appear in my courtroom at 9 o'clock on the Saturday morning to potentially testify at that time. Please nod your head if you understand me. Yes? Okay, everybody is nodding affirmatively. Okay, I apologize the audio didn't work this morning. Well, we'll work on that. Anything else, Miss Wallace? Okay, she is shaking her head no. All right, thank y'all very much. We'll see you. Y'all work with the investigator to find out when it's your turn. Thank you. The court. Good morning. Everyone be seated, please. We are on the record in cause number 296-835-652-2025, State versus Karmelo Anthony. Starting on my right, your left. Counsel, state your name and the party you represent. Mr. Worski. Bill Worski for the state of Texas, Dual Mitchell for the state of Texas, Christina Skipper for the state of Texas, Lisa Braxton for the state of Texas, Alyssa Mannington for the state of Texas, Mike Howard for the defense, Toby Shook for the defense, Tasha Gupta for the defense. The court. Okay, let the record reflect the defendant is also present in the courtroom. Are there any pretrial matters we needed to discuss before we start trial? Mr. Worski, nothing from the state. Your Honor. Mr. Mitchell, yes, there is from the state. Mr. Worski, oh, I misspoke. The court. I already knew the answer to that question, but go ahead, Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, may I approach, Judge? The court. Yes, sir. Mr. Mitchell, at this time, Judge, the state would give the court a copy of the signed trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, signed jury separation agreement, and a stipulation of evidence signed by all parties. The court. Any objection? Mr. Howard, no objection, Your Honor. The court. They are all admitted for their individual purposes. Mr. Mitchell. And then, the court, do we have a discovery log too? Or what are we doing with that? Mr. Mitchell. We do have a log. I believe it was the state's intention that we would be filing that at the end of trial. The court. Okay. Mr. Mitchell with the court. The court. No objection to that, Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, no objection. The court. Thank you. Mr. Mitchell. And then finally, Your Honor, prior to bringing in the jury, the state would offer state's exhibit number 1 by agreement with defense. Mr. Howard, no objection. The court. State's number 1 is admitted. Anything else from the state? Mr. Mitchell? No, Your Honor. The court. From the defense? Mr. Howard. Judge, technically we haven't had rulings on the pretrial. Standard pretrial motions were filed. Although I believe they are in compliance, I would like to get rulings on those just before we start. The court. Any objections to the court granting the defendant's motions for pretrial? Mr. Worski. No, Your Honor. The court. Okay, they're all admitted. I'm sorry, they're all granted. Now, I do want to pause right here, guys, because this was the issue. Okay, so the pretrial motions is okay. How did I spoke about this? So y'all remember the gentleman's agreement, right? So the gentleman's agreement was pretty much them saying what they can and cannot talk about, right? They're going to keep it what happened under the tent, blase, blase, blase. The formal format that you put that in is called a motion for limine, okay? They also, you have the state's 404B, which is what the state will issue as far as what they will, like what evidence they have. I think that's the simplest term I could put that in. So these are pretrial documents that are supposed to be filed with the court where we can. So if I go to look on the public docket, I should see state's evidence. I should see motion of limine, but we don't see those things. And so when they file them and they're docketed, they're forwarded to the court. The judge has the schedule, or the defense or the state needs to, schedule a hearing. So it can be days before trial. It can be the day of trial. But those rulings have to be, those motions have to be talked about and ruled on prior to that. Now, it's crazy that Mike Howard brought that up. He's like, okay, standard pretrial motions were filed. I'm like, okay, well, where are the motions? Because we don't see that on the docket. Okay, but the judge granted whatever was in that motion of limine and that state's evidence, the 404B. We don't have a copy of that, so we don't know what was said, what statements that were. We don't know nothing. Okay, and that's the crazy part. So part of the clerk's record that goes to the appeals court. I don't even think that the pretrial motions are even in there because they were never technically filed. Yeah. All right. So let's go on. So he granted them. He granted both motions, but yet we don't. Well, not both motions, but he granted the pretrial motions, but we don't know what the motion said because they weren't filed. Mr. Howard, thank you, Judge. The court, anything? Okay, anything else? Mr. Howard said nothing else. The court, is the state ready to proceed? Mr. Worski, the state is ready. The court, is the defense ready? Mr. Howard, the defense is ready. The court, bring in the jury, please. And just for the record, each side has asked for 20 minutes for opening statement. Mr. Worski, that's correct, Your Honor. Mr. Howard, that's correct, Your Honor. The bailiff, all rise. The court, remain standing. Please remain standing, please. Everyone except the jury, be seated, please. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. No, y'all need to keep standing. Good morning, the jury. Good morning. The court, how are y'all? Thank you for being on time. Everything went very smoothly this morning. We appreciate it very much. I gave you all of the instructions that I am legally supposed to give you yesterday. What I did not do, and I'm doing it now, is to swear you all in. Each of you raise your hand, right hand, and he's sworn in the jury. The court, okay? Put your hands down and be seated, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing we are going to do today, I am going to have the state just read the indictment. I don't think we've talked about it during voir dire very much. The indictment is just the roadmap of the state's case, which they have to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to have the state read the indictment to you now. Mr. Worski. All right, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. How are y'all? The jury, good morning. Mr. Worski. Again, my name is Bill Worski. I am of the assistant district attorneys that represent the state of Texas in this case. As the judge said, it is now my duty to read the true bill of indictment to you folks, and it reads as follows. True bill of indictment. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Collin County, state of Texas, duly organized at the January term AD 2025 of the 219th District Court of said county in said court at said term, do present that one Karmelo Sincere Anthony, hereinafter called defendant, on or about the second day of April 2025 in said county and state, did then and there intentionally and knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Austin Metcalf, by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon. And further, then and there, with intent to cause serious bodily injury to Austin Metcalf, an individual, commit an act clearly dangerous to human life by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon that caused the death of Austin Metcalf, against the peace and dignity of the state, signed by the foreman of the grand jury. The court. Thank you, Mr. Worski. Mr. Anthony, to these charges, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty? Let me see. Defendant, not guilty. The court, thank you. Have a seat, please. Hold on. Mr. Worski, are you ready? Mr. Worski, yes, Your Honor. The court, you may proceed. Mr. Worski, thank you. The court, hey, could you do me a favor? I put lavaliers on your table. Would you all mind wearing those during your statement so we can all hear you? Mr. Worski, thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court? The court, yes, sir. Mr. Worski, counsel. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. This is our opportunity to share with you what we believe the evidence will be in this trial, to basically tell you why we are all here this morning. And very simply, we are all here this morning because this young man, Karmelo Anthony, on Wednesday, April 2nd of last year, 2025, decided to take a knife to a high school track meet and provoke and goad another young man who he didn't know into touching him. And the instant he is touched, he produced a hidden knife already opened in his hand and plunged it into the chest, buried it into the heart of another young man, causing his death. And then he ran away. The other young man has a name. His name is Austin Metcalf. And Austin Metcalf died that day in a high school stadium because this man decided to commit an unjustified, provoked murder. That's why we are here this morning. This case has nothing to do with race. This case is not self defense. This case is about a man for a reason or reasons unknown who took a knife to the track meet, slipped into another teammate's tent, refused to leave, and taunted them and goaded them and provoked them. And when Austin Metcalf finally went and pushed and shoved him to move him out of the tent, that's when he lodged his sneak surprise attack. The folding knife already open. He had it hidden so no one could see in his backpack, and then he plunged it into Austin Metcalf's heart, an act clearly dangerous to human life. In fact, an act that took a human life that day. That is why we are here, folks. No other reason. The facts of this case are simple. They are as simple as this killing, as this murder, was senseless, simply senseless. Now, you are going to hear a little bit more about his deadly and dangerous actions that day, but more importantly, you are going to see them. See, there was a surveillance video that morning at Kukendall Stadium, and you are going to see it in just a few minutes. And that video tells the story. That video shows the murder. And then you are also going to hear from numerous eyewitnesses who were there to tell you after he slipped into another team's tent, he refused to leave, asked by multiple people multiple times, "You are going to have to make me, touch me, see what happens, touch me, see what happens." And finally, when Austin Metcalf said he didn't want to fight, he just wanted Carmelo Anthony to leave. And finally, when Austin Metcalf laid hands on Carmelo Anthony after Carmelo Anthony had provoked him and goaded him, he stabbed him and runs away, tossing the knife as he runs, and he tries to slip out of the stadium, running fast at first, then slowing down, trying to blend into the confusion and the pandemonium that was going on out there that morning. That's what you are going to hear. You're going to hear from the kids that will tell you about these conversations, describe exactly what was going on under that tent that morning. This was a provoked, unjustified murder. The facts are simple. Killing, this murder is just senseless. It is senseless. So let me reset a little bit. Let me rewind. Earlier that morning, that Wednesday, April 2nd of last year, Kukendall Stadium, Frisco ISD, that morning, the district track meet was set to begin, okay? There were several of Frisco high schools, including Memorial High School, where Austin Metcalf went and attended with his twin brother. We already know that's Hunter. It is also included Centennial High School, where this young man attended, okay? And you are going to hear that Memorial actually hosted the district track meet, and you are going to hear uh, later today from one of their coaches, Rob Starr. Rob Starr is going to come in and tell you a little bit about how track meets run, and in particular, how this track meet ran. And because they were the host, he had extra responsibilities. Coach Starr did that morning, knowing he would be busy, knowing he would be doing 100 different things, he needed some people to step up and take charge of the team, get the tent set up, and make sure everybody was where they needed to be. And he sent a text early that morning to Austin Metcalf and another young man and said, hey, I need you guys to step up and be leaders today, okay? That's the text that Austin got. And as we get to about 10 o'clock, Coach Starr will tell you there was rain in the forecast that morning. Light raindrops began to fall. That caused somewhat of a bit of a confusion out there at the track meet. Some teams assumed incorrectly they were in a rain delay and went to the buses. Some teams and some athletes that had been to the buses because of the rain, when it was slacking, started to filter back into the stadium. Some of the athletes warming up on the field, mostly of them staying in their assigned areas with their teams in their tents. Okay, let's see. And you are going to see video surveillance. That about 6.5 minutes before the murder, Austin Metcalf and his twin brother Hunter and several other boys entered that tent. They had been at Stanley Middle School, which is very close to Kukendall. They had been over there saying hello to some of their former coaches. You will see them come in up to the tent. People seated, some people leaving to go warm up. A lot of kids just sitting there, heads buried in their phones. Y'all see that? Heads buried in their phones. And about 2 minutes after Austin Metcalf entered the tent, this man, Karmelo Anthony, he enters the picture. And you see the video. He comes up on the visitor side bleachers, comes from a protected area that might have kept him out of the rain, comes up, looks around, and strolls right past two large Liberty High School tents and their athletes and their coaches. And he makes a beeline for the memorial tent. And you will pick him up in another camera angle slipping into the memorial tent up top of the tent. The bleachers have a slant. They put the tent over it, and you will see more normal activity once he is in the tent. The witnesses will tell you. Numerous of the memorial athletes said, "Hey, ma'am, what are you doing here? You can't be here. You need to leave." We know that Coach Starr expects no one else other than teammates under the tent. See, the tents kind of serve as a locker room, as Coach Starr will tell you. It is very important to protect the kids from the elements, a place where they can safely leave their belongings without fear of theft. These athletes knew what their coach's expectations was, and he is refusing to leave. Numerous people are asking him to leave, and I'm not going to leave. Move me, make me. And finally, doing as his coach had requested in a text message, Austin Metcalf steps up, shows a little leadership, and says, "You need to go. You need to go." What does he say? "Do you want to fight? Make me. Touch me. Touch me and see what happens." The kids will tell you Austin was unwilling. He didn't want to sing. He didn't want to fight. But he kept provoking, goading, and taunting until finally Austin Metcalf took the bait and touched him, shoved him, pushed him. You will see it on the videotape. And at that point, he had been sitting there the last few minutes of taunting, the provoking, and the goading, with his hand in a Centennial High School backpack, a folding knife you will see later today already opened in his hand. And he produced it swiftly and suddenly and plunged it into the chest of Austin Metcalf. Austin Metcalf, he didn't even know he had been stabbed. Once the stabbing happened, what does he do? He runs like the guilty run. He bolts out from the tent. You will see this. He turns to his left, no doubt realizing he can't get out that way, so he turns to his right towards the gate. He runs fast at first, and then he slows down and tries to blend in and slip out the front gate. Now back under the tent. The kids, as you can all well imagine, have now leaped up. They do not know what is going on. Some of them, when they realize there has been a stabbing, flee. They run for their lives, afraid that the stabbing was going to continue and other students would get hurt. One group, including Blank, went to aid Austin. Once Austin realized he had been stabbed, he lifts up his shirt and says, "I've been stabbed," and the kids see a gaping, bloody wound. That's the knife wound right through the heart. He stumbled down several rows of bleachers and falls, where he is attended by several other kids and his twin brother. Several of the kids called 911. A third group of kids that had seen the stabbing and figured out what was going on, they pointed him out. They followed him. They pointed him out and finally get some coaches who were able to stop him right as he was trying to leave the track meet. What does he say when he is stopped by these people? He touched me. He touched me first. He touched me, as if somehow the fact justifies his act, as if somehow the fact justifies the murder he had just committed. In response to the 911 call, a Frisco police officer, Officer Cortez, who is the school resource officer at nearby Staley, he hears the call of the stabbing, comes out. He races towards Kukendall and he runs and gets the group of kids who are running in fear. And they tell him, hey, there has been a stabbing. The victim is over there by the memorial tent. Officer Cortez activates his body worn camera and runs towards the scene. When he gets there, he sees that these coaches have detained Austin Metcalf, and you will see all of this on surveillance video and on Officer Cortez's body worn camera. And what does Karmelo Anthony say when Officer Cortez appears to put him in cuffs? Cortez puts him in custody, puts on the handcuffs, gets on the radio and said, I have the alleged suspect in custody. Slow everyone down. Karmelo Anthony, despite not being questioned, says, I am not alleged. I did it. I am not alleged. I did it. And then he repeats what he had told the bystanders, and you will hear this on the body worn camera. He touched me first. He touched me first. That's what you will hear, trying to justify the murder. More importantly, what you are going to hear is a telltale lie. A telltale lie. Seconds, moments after the murder, he lies to Cortez, who is not even trying to question him. He touched me. He touched me first. What's the lie? I told him not to. I told him not to. You see, he knows what he did. He knows he provoked the murder. He knows he's goaded the murder. And in the seconds and minutes after that, the first line out of his mouth, he touched me first. I told him not to. And that lie tells you everything you need to know about his mindset that day. Everything you need to know. He wasn't scared. He lied when he got caught trying to leave the stadium. He tossed the knife immediately after stabbing, something no scared person would do. If you're scared and running away and you just had to stab someone in self-defense, why toss the knife? But that's what he did. He tried to slip away from the scene, and then when he gets caught, he tells a lie. And that's a lie should be very important to you folks as you listen to the evidence. You're going to see all of this video later this morning, and you are going to start to hear from the witnesses. You are going to start to hear from the witnesses. And I submit to you the facts of this case are very simple. It is a senseless murder. It is not about self-defense. You folks heard a little bit about the law yesterday. You will hear more about it as the case goes on. You simply cannot provoke someone and then when they touch you, produce a knife and take their life. The knife wasn't used to protect him from harm. The knife was used to harm another. That's what this case is about. Murder, plain and simple and senseless. After all, and after you hear all of this evidence, see all of the video, and listen to all of the witnesses, I expect to be back up here in a few days talking with you folks and asking you to follow the oath that you took, follow the evidence that you saw, the evidence that you heard, and find this man guilty of first-degree murder. That's what this case is about. Thank you very much. The court. Thank you, Mr. Worski. Mr. Howard, do you care to make an opening statement at this time? Mr. Howard? Yes, Your Honor. The court. You may proceed. Mr. Howard. Thank you, Judge. May it please the court. The court. Yes, sir. Mr. Howard, counsel, ladies and gentlemen, the court. Can you turn your mic on? I got it. It's on. Mr. Howard. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a lot of noise around this case. We all know it. We talk about it in jury selection. You told us you believe less than half of what you see on social media, in media in general. And I think that's fair because there's a lot of noise about this case, a lot of completely false information. The good thing is, as the judge has told you, you're going to hear all of the actual evidence in this courtroom and only in this courtroom. There has been a lot of noise about Melo, about his family. But what the evidence is going to show is that Melo is a son, he is a brother, the oldest of four. He is a friend, a boyfriend. He's an A student, graduated with a 3.7 GPA from Centennial High School while holding down two jobs while he was in high school, while being an athlete, playing football, playing baseball, playing track. Yes, he is into chess, like going to like likes to go camping, but living here in the Metroplex doesn't get a ton of opportunity too. There has been a lot of noise about his family. There has been a lot of noise about both families, to be honest. A lot of unfairness. You are going to hear the evidence in this courtroom that his mom is a nurse who gave up her career as she had more kids to stay at home, to be a stay at home mom with her four children. His dad is a finance manager for a car dealership. They are from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's where his parents are from. That's where Karmelo was born. It is where they raised Melo. And like so many people, they wanted their families to have a better life, more opportunities. And so they moved to the DFW Metroplex. That's what brought them here midway through Melo's freshman year of high school. They came to Frisco for a better life. Melo starts at Centennial his sophomore year. He gets good grades. He joins the football team. He had always played offense, but the coach needed somebody to play safety on defense and asked Melo to change positions, so he does. He is a team player. Never played that position before. Struggled to learn it, but eventually by his senior year, he is playing and he is elected captain by his teammates. Also, while he is in high school, he has his first seizure, learns that he has epilepsy, diagnosed with epilepsy. His younger sister also has epilepsy. He gets on medication. It is pretty well controlled with medication. Going into his senior year, going into the fall of 2024, that's when he get elected captain of the football team. Is having a good year and gets injured that fall. Injures his shoulder, and a few games into the season, his season is done. He is in the sling for months until shortly before the track meet that changed everyone's life on April 2nd, 2025. On April 2nd, 2025, Melo woke up a little late, in a rush to get to the track meet, drove from his home to school where he got on the bus with the rest of his teammates. Some kids had gotten permission slips signed so they could drive directly to the track meet. Melo rode the bus with everyone else. Melo was a varsity track kid. Most of the events that morning were JV and most of the varsity events were later. But Melo had scheduled to do a long jump and some other events. But long jump was in the morning. Melo had a PT appointment for his shoulder that day, but decided, do you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the track meet, and they canceled the PT. It was raining that day, and it was on and off rain. But like we all know here in Texas, sometimes that on and off rain turns into heavy rain, and then it stops, and then it looks fine, and then 10 minutes later it's raining again. And he surely is right. Probably a tornado at that point. But anywho's, and that's what was going on. When the kids arrive at first, it is quite light, but then throughout the morning, it will start raining hard and then it will get stop again. We've all been there. And so some kids do, they go to the bus. There is word going around that events are delayed. Some kids are taking cover under tents. Some kids are taking cover under the bleachers. A lot of kids are taking cover under the bleachers. Every team that was there that day had intent except for Centennial for whatever reason. No one can remember if they forgot it or if they didn't have it then, or what the deal was, but it is undisputed that Centennial didn't have a tent. All they had was a tarp. They put the tarp over the wet bleachers when they get there because it's really not raining hard. And then, of course, the second it rains, that tarp is just every bit of wet and slick as anything else, and it's not protecting anybody from anything. So you will hear the evidence will establish that throughout the morning, Mello is in normal mood. Everything is fine. He is relaxing with his teammates, talking. That goes and takes over from the rain. Oh, that goes and takes cover from the rain. That word comes around that, hey, the events are about to start. The 4x100 needs to be out there. So Mello goes and helps them warm up for a little bit for the JV 4x100. And then Mello decides to go get out of the rain because it is about to come again. Mello goes to look for a place to get out of the rain. And you will see in the video a word that the video was for a second. I'm going to tell you that the video, there was a surveillance camera it is on the opposite of the stadium. We all know how stadiums work. That's pretty far away. And so it is. Before you zoom in, it is just little dots on the screen. And then when you zoom in, and as you zoom in, it becomes pretty blurry. So you guys are going to see the video. Well, you guys are going to see video of everything, but I think it is going to be pretty fair to say that the video, it establishes some things, but it is not crystal clear about anything. But you can see that the memorial has a tent. Next to it is Liberty School's tent. You will see as people pass in front of the Liberty High School tent that Liberty is pretty jam packed. That memorial has a good number of people in it too. So, and I'm sorry to kind of go left, but he even said, so whatever video that they had, it wasn't crystal clear. So the video that we see is the same video that they see, and it wasn't clear. So you zoom in, and it was actually blurry. So that we can contest, well, not contest, we can confirm that it was indeed blurry. So they saw the same video. So Mello walks out in front of the tent and sees somebody he recognizes. Mello knew a number of people from Memorial, but he especially knew Blank. So I'm pretty sure he's talking about Eddie, is the close family member of Karmelo, then and still girlfriend. Oh, wow. And so Mello had spent time with Blank, knew Blank, recognized, and goes over to say hi to his friends, who he thought was his friend. Mello sits down. A number of students see him sit down. He doesn't slip into the tent like somebody thief in the night. He walks right up to his buddy and then describe, as the young folks talk about it, dapping each other up, doing that little handshake thing. Hey, how are you? And he sits down and they chat for somewhere, a few minutes. Some witnesses say 5 minutes, some witnesses say less than 10 minutes. It is some amount of time sits there talking. The government just said that multiple people told him to leave, but before that, multiple witnesses, and these are all Memorial kids, said that they were just talking. Everything was fine. Clearly, he seemed to know Blank. He seemed friendly talk. And that went until Blank and Austin, I'm pretty sure Hunter and Austin Metcalf saw Mello. Now, Mello was seated towards the top of the tent. He has got Memorial kids to his left. He has got Memorial kids to his right. Blank, his friend, was sitting to his right. Blank is sitting directly in front of him with his back to him. Hasn't noticed him yet. For however many minutes this talk is going on, catching up. Blank is right in front of him. Austin Metcalf is off to Mello's right, either on Blank row or maybe one row down. It is a little hard. No one remembers exactly. There are Memorial kids, estimated 10, 15, 20 kids under the tent. Everyone there but Karmelo is from Memorial. You are going to hear a lot of testimony about what happens, and it is perfectly natural for there to be small discrepancies and whatnot. But as the judge told you yesterday, you can consider the relationship of the witness to the parties to decide the credibility. And I just want you to remember that everybody under the tent is a teammate or friend of Austin and Hunter Metcalf. Or I can't say it's Hunter. We're going to say Austin and Blank. Now, there are some independent witnesses. I don't know what the state is going to, who they are going to call, in what order, but you may not hear from anybody who is not memorial, who was an eyewitness to this and exactly what happened under the tent until the defense gets to present evidence. So that's why it is important that you keep an open mind so that you hear both sides of the story. So Blank and Austin noticed Mello and they confronted him and tell him to leave. What's important to know is Mello is 5'8", 130 pounds, 130, 135, 140 on a heavy day. Blank and Austin Metcalf, so obviously Hunter. So Hunter and Austin Metcalf were 6'1", 213, 215, 83 pounds heavier than Mello. And they confront him. They tell him to get out. You are going to hear that Mello was confused. Why are they making such a big deal out of this? You are going to hear different accounts of exactly what was said. The government has given you clearly it was touch me and find out. But there are witnesses who also are going to tell you that, well, maybe it was. As long as you don't touch me, we're cool. What you will hear, even from all the memorial kids, is that Mello remained seated, even as Austin stood up, even as Hunter stood up. That Mello put his hand in the bag when Austin stood up and was being aggressive. And that pretty much everybody recognized that as like a back off warning. The hand in the bag, even so much that multiple witnesses said that Austin said, "I know you ain't got nothing in there in that bag," calling Mello's bluff. Austin comes towards Mello. Mello remains seated as Austin comes up in front of him, standing right to his right shoulder. Hunter stands up and he is directly in front. You will hear from witnesses that other memorial kids started to stand up, like kids do when they think a fight or altercation of some sort is about to happen. They stand up, they gawk, maybe they move towards, but Mello stays seated. And it is uncontroverted that Austin makes the first physical contact. In spite of the warning, in spite of the don't touch me or touch me and find out or whatever was said, Austin grabs, shoves, punches, pushes. There is going to be different descriptions of that. But in a split second, Mello has to make a decision how and when to act. Because the thing about self-defense is the law says clearly that you can't use it too early, of course, because then it is not self-defense. But self-defense is useless if you wait until it is too long to defend yourself. So the question is, when you are put in that position is when to act. And you have to make that decision in a split second as things are happening. You will hear that it is raining. Some witnesses describe it as raining hard at this point, that Mello sat down to get out of the rain, that he sat down to talk to his friends, and now he has got memorial kids all around him, and now they are turning on him and they are coming towards him and he doesn't know what to do. And in that moment, he has to decide what to do. And so he reacts in a split second of fear and chaos. Now, a question may come up throughout this trial why he didn't just walk away. And I want you to pay close attention that there is an answer to that question. After Mello defended himself with the knife, because it is a question for you if that was a reasonable defense of himself. But after he defended himself, he ran. He didn't stab twice. He didn't threaten anyone else with the knife. He didn't keep the knife just in case. He dropped the knife, tossed the knife right by the bleachers, right on the bleachers, right by the tent. He could have ran and tried to throw it in the woods or whatever. There was no woods next to it, but he could have tried to run and throw it somewhere where it couldn't be found. But he left it right by the tent. He ran, he stumbles, he falls. There are people running, there are people yelling, there are people chasing him. He falls on the tent, on the bleachers as he going down the bleachers. Of course, it is wet and slick. And then he goes along, and the video shows this. He goes along the edge. And the government just said he's trying to slip out. He's trying to get away. Get away with this, they think. Except instead of going out towards the exit, he turns and goes onto the track where there is coaches and people. And it is obviously not the way out. He goes on the track and walks right up to the coach, Vincent Hooper, who puts his arm around Melo, and you can see it in the video. When the police got there, Melo stayed with Vincent Hooper, didn't try to run away. When Officer Cortez came and said, I have the alleged suspect, he said, I am not alleged, I did it. This is not someone trying to hide it. He immediately says, I am defending myself, or I was defending myself, and you will hear those statements as he sobbed. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, your job is going to be to decide, has the government ruled out every logical possible reasonable doubt? And that includes, has the government ruled out the logically possible reasonable doubt that Melo acted in self-defense? Thank you. The court. Thank you, Mr. Howard. The state, call your first witness. Mr. Mitchell, the state calls Mark Porter. The court, I couldn't hear you. Mr. Mitchell, the state calls Mark Porter. The court, okay, I turned it off. Sir, if you will walk towards this black chair to my right, that's the witness chair. Before you sit down, turn to me and raise your right hand. So judge swears him in. The court, put your hand down and be seated, please. Mr. Mitchell, put that microphone towards you, please, and you may begin. Mr. Mitchell, thank you, Your Honor. Mark Porter, having been first duly sworn, testifies as follows. Good morning, sir. Good morning. If you would, please introduce yourself to the jury. My name is Mark Porter. And Mr. Porter, if you would, tell the jury how you are employed. I am a forensic video analyst for the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Okay, and I know I probably don't have to say this, but Tarrant County is not Collin County. What's the big city in Tarrant County? Fort Worth. Okay, if you would, will you tell the jury a little bit about how you are employed with that district attorney's office in Tarrant County? Yes, I am one member of the Digital and Forensics and Technical Services unit for our office. I am the video analyst. I also do audio work. There are 2 computer forensic video analysts in my lab, and there are also 2 cell phone forensic analysts in my lab as well. Is that kind of the nature of modern criminal investigations? We now employ individuals to be able to go through video evidence, cell phone evidence. I mean, that's just the modern world. It is. If you would, I would talk a little bit about Tarrant County Lab, but first I want to talk about your background to be able to do the job you do. Could you describe for the jury what is a forensic analyst and what training and experience do you have to do that job? A forensic analyst is a person that will take digital multimedia evidence, and we will just shorten that to 3 letters of DME. And we, as requested and relating to criminal cases and things of that nature, do an analysis if it is required. Sometimes we just take cell phones. For example, we will extract all of the data from the cell phone and provide it in a report for the prosecutor, and they have their own disciplines to do that. And everything is, we don't really cross fields. So we are all specialized in that field that we do. And that's basically, they have their own set of requirements as far as training and experience and, certifications as well as I do. If I could, would you describe to the jury your training and certifications in the field of video forensics? Yes, my certification is through LEVA, which is LEVA. It is the Law Enforcement and Emergency Service Video Association. The requirement to start into the certification process are 4 core courses that are each 1 week in length. And you have to do practical examinations during the week. And you also have to have hands on theory, and you also have lecture. The first element is called forensic video analysis and the law. And you are exposed to what DME is, what it is and what it consists of, such as audio, video, still imagery, and things of that nature. And because there is not a lot of standardization in the closed circuit television world, the DVRs and the NVRs that you see that record media of video, you are exposed to several different types of systems that you may run into in the field when you are acquiring that evidence. And then you progress on and you are exposed to some of the legal aspects of how video is used in a legal process or legal setting. And after that, you progress to instructions on how to correctly acquire the video from the device and also to accurately decimate, the information that you have acquired from that device. Then you go to level 2, which is digital and multimedia evidence processing, where you build upon that and you take that data that you have acquired and you are instructed on the best practices on how to maintain the integrity of that data so it doesn't get damaged or compromised. And then you are exposed to a little more advanced theory of how DME works. You get basically under the hood of how it's constructed and how it works on a machine level. And after that, it is forensic video analysis, comparison, and contrast. And what you do, you take in and the scientific method. That's what it's also included in that as well, where you take the digital multimedia evidence and it will be unknown DME that you have, such as still images and video, and you do a comparison and contrast to known images and videos that are acquired to determine if they are things that are there that you can do a comparison, whether they are present in the known and the unknown. And if they are, you can start developing a process to write a report and to write a chart to illustrate the similarities between the unknowns and the knowns. But you also have to look at the option to see if there are things in one that are not present in the other, and if that is explainable difference or an unexplainable difference. And finally, the fourth aspect of it is basically called forensic video analysis, or, excuse me, advanced video analysis, where you are taking the encompassment of all the training prior. You are giving a case file to work that contains DME, a police report. You then have to do an analysis of that DME that was provided to you, write a report, and then defend it or mute court setting. And you also have to pass the final examination, the final written exam for that test. Now, you mentioned a certification body. I believe you said it was LEVA. That's correct. Is that is that a certifying body of forensic video analysts? It is. It is international organization. And you mentioned all of these different levels. Is that a process where you have to have proficiency checks within each level to move on to the next one? Is LEVA the agency that actually certifies people in the ability to work in the courtroom setting, in a lab setting? That is correct. And how long have you been certified by LEVA in those different areas? I've been certified. My certification I achieved in 2010, and I have maintained it till this day. Have you also taken on different roles within that international organization beyond just being certified by them? Yes. And what roles have you taken on? I was on the board of directors from 2013 to 2018 as a director at large and also vice chairman of the board of directors. And from 2022 until the present day, I am on the recertification committee or certification committee. And as video forensic analyst, have you testified as an expert in courtrooms prior to this? I have. Few or many times? Many. Just in Tarrant County? Throughout the state of Texas? Okay. How many? Just so we can kind of get a picture, like how many people are there with your certifications? Currently, there are 59 certified video analysts in the world through LEVA, and there is a lower level certification as video technician, and there is approximately 1,070 of those people. Do you know how many of you there are in the state of Texas, roughly? If I recall correctly, less than 5. Mr. Mitchell, may I approach Your Honor, the court? You may. Mr. Porter, I am going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 86. Is this a true and correct copy of your curriculum vitae? And that's like their resume, if y'all want to know, like their resume. He responds, yes, it is. Ms. Mitchell, we will offer States 86 for record purpose only. Mr. Shook, no objection. The court states 86 is admitted for record purposes only. Now, Mr. Porter, I want to talk a little bit about the lab that you mentioned for the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. Is that who, as part of that lab, who do you work for? I basically work for the elected district attorney. He is the overriding authority for the office, but I basically work for all the prosecutors, approximately 160 prosecutors in our office, both felony and misdemeanor, as well as anyone else that requires assistance. Now, when you just told the jury, I have testified in other places around the state of Texas. Was that on cases for Tarrant County District Attorney's Office? Those were cases that were brought forth to me from other counties. Other judicial districts will contact me to see if I would be able to be of service to them, and I was. So when I did that work, I would have to travel to that county to testify as needed. And so basically, with your expertise, you are also asked by other counties, both police agencies and district attorney offices, to analyze video. Is that correct? Yes. Now, within your analysis of video, what are some of the different ways you have been called upon to work in cases? Various ways. If you have multiple locations where events occurred that are tied to a singular incident, I have been asked to make a timeline or a compilation that shows the person or object of interest that travels from place to place in a linear fashion, so you don't have to stop and switch players back and forth, as well as taking multiple camera views of NVRs, which are network video recorders. If you have multiple cameras, like you have a 16 camera system, rather than having to play one file, stop, go to the next file, start it over again, what we can do is we can develop a timeline that will show the progression of the person or thing of interest and put it in a timeline so where you can follow it in a logical fashion. I have also been asked to do audio enhancements or clarifications as well. I also do still image photography. I document tattoo photos for our gang unit as well. Have you been involved in cases where you have done height comparisons based on prior videos with known heights? Yes, we have. And is that's actually changed in the way you've been able to do that? It used to be kind of a stick that was taken by the same camera and then compared to prior video. And now you have got software that has that kind of stuff. Is that fair? Yes, back in the old VHS days, we had a calibrated pole that we had put graduations every inch alternating black and white. And what you had to do, if you have ever watched a movie or a video and one scene fades into another, it's called a mixer. And what we would do, as long as the camera remained in the exact same position, the day that we did the height pole analysis is the day that the event occurred and nothing had changed. What we would do is put the pole, the reference pole, we know how tall it is. We would place that in the same area where the person of interest is and do a 50% cross mix. And where the top of that person's head or the top of that person's headgear intersected that board was where their approximate height within an inch or two. So things have progressed to do great degree at this point, to where all we have to do now is we can utilize software to do that. We do not have to put the actual height pole to the image. All we need to do is have a known height or a known distance in that image, and we can feed into that software and make some other align some other lines in there, and the software will calculate that person. Once you put that person in that same image at a certain height with a margin of error. Have you also been called upon with video evidence to work on identification of individuals? Yes. In what ways? Basically, a lot of times it is tattoos on people's bodies and things of that nature. I typically do not do facial comparisons, but if there is anything on the person's body that's noticeable and observable in the image, I will get photographs of that person, and that is my question object or person, and you always identify the question and you examine the question's items first so you don't be biased towards that is a person. So what I do is I take the questioned item, annotate what I see, make my observations, and then I will go and get a known photograph of that person and see if there are similarities. And in all of these different types of work, uh, you have told us that you are housed in the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. So that I would imagine that means oftentimes you called by the state. I guess the way to put it is put on the stand with the role, at least in their mind, of having what I'm going to call damning evidence against a defendant, right? You are the one, the prosecution team, and you're trying to, in their mind, you are there to help their case. Well, in their mind, that may be, but I'm not on their team. What I do is I determine whether that individual, that object, is consistent or it is conceivable that it is the same. And if it isn't, I will tell them that. It doesn't matter if it is not there or I determine that there are no tattoos visible on the person, but yet I see someone with tattoos. That's a difference that I can explain. And I will tell them, this is not your person. And in fact, in your work, have you also, I guess, is it hard to ask you without saying teams, but at the same time, you have also worked for the defense attorney saying, look, they have got the wrong person, and you have worked with regard to ruling out people who have been charged with crimes. Is that correct? Yes, absolutely. All right, well, would you, if you could, explain to us, let's start real basic. What is video? When we get video, what are we actually getting? Video is basically, at its lowest form, is just a series of still images displayed in a rapid fashion. And once you do that, once you have played them in a rapid fashion, one after the other, you get what appears to be emotion. And so when we think about video, I think we think about it as, I'm sorry, this is the prosecution. Sorry. And so when we think about video, I think we think about it as something that's moving, but is it really image? Image displayed so fast that our brains can track with it as a movement? That's a fair assessment, yes. I know, I'm sorry. That's fine. If you would, what's resolution? Resolution can be two things. The actual definition is the ability to discern one thing from another in an image. But typically, when you speak of resolution, people are usually understanding it as what I call a pixel matrix. 1920 by 1080 or 720 by 240. These are pixel matrices, which are how many pixels across are in the image versus how many pixels are in the vertical orientation. So 1920 by 1080 means that there is, in that image, there are 1920 pixels across, and there is 1080 pixels from top to bottom. And what are pixels in comparison to image we see? What are Basically, a pixel is it is a picture element. It is the smallest element in an image that contain data, color data. And all of those pixels make up the image that we look at. Is that a fair way to look at it? Yes. When you are asked to work on a case, are there limitations with what you can do with video? Absolutely. Okay. You get asked to work on a case. Can you go out and somehow create camera angles or create video that didn't exist at the time whatever occurred? No. Can you take an image and how whatever that pixel count or resolution is? Do you have any ability to go and make it more resolution, clearer, closer? You can't really make it clearer. There are filters that are available in software that I utilize that will do a magnification, but it does not change the actual image itself. Okay, when we talk about magnifying pre-existing video, what's the limitation when you start? Like, am I going to use the term or can I use the term zoom in? Yes. Okay, if you start to zoom in on a video, what's the limitation with that? What's the cost? When you start doing a digital zoom in on an image like that, I'm sorry. When you start doing a digital zoom in on an image like that, what you are asking the image to do, for lack of a better word, is to, when you zoom in, you are asking the image to cover more area than it did in its initial or current or standard, I guess the original format. When you start zooming in, if a pixel covers 1 foot and you zoom in 100%, well, now a pixel covers 2 feet. So anything that is smaller than 2 feet now is going to get degraded as far as this ability to be able to actually accurately determine what it is. And I guess if you get where you zoom in too much, now you just start to see colors and movement, and you don't have a clear image that you had when you first looked at that from a regular view, I guess. I hope y'all are like really paying attention. I know this sounds like, oh my God, this is boring. But if y'all are listening, they're talking about the video that everybody saw. So what we saw, the people in the court also saw. It's blurry. You can't really tell. Yeah, you can see movement, but you can't really define this person, this is this person, this is what happened. So keep that in mind, people. Um, okay, so I'm going to where the forensic text. So yes, typically what will happen is more you zoom in, the blurrier the image will get, and you will lose fine detail. All right, well, let's talk about this case a little bit. In this case, well, no, let me back up. In any case, are you an original investigator? Meaning, are you part of the original investigation, the crime scene team, the team that goes out when a crime is committed to do an investigation? On occasion, I've been asked by the Texas Rangers Division of the Department of Public Safety, because I work with the Rangers that are in my county. I have been asked on occasion to go out to the scene that is active, that has just occurred in the very near past. But typically, my procedures, I only get that video long after the event has occurred and after it has been processed through the legal system as being prepared for trial. And is that in this case, were you part of any of the investigation, or is it just like what you just described? This is an after the fact, you are being brought in. Yes, it was. I was not involved in the investigation in this case whatsoever. And with regards to your work in this case, did you review police reports? Did you interview witnesses or do any investigative work on this case? I did not. So, with regard to the facts of this case, you are not that witness. You are not the one to ask about what people said or what people saw or what happened that day based on personal knowledge. No. What was presented to you in, well, let me back up. Were you shown original video that purported to be from the school district in this case? Yes. And when presented with that type of evidence, what's your initial role with that? Kind of, hey, here's what we've got. What do you look at and what are you interested in at that point? Typically, what I will do when I receive a request for work is I ask them what are they looking for, what they are wanting to achieve with this evidence. And then what I have to do is just do a basic examination of it and weigh that, the request for what they are wanting to do or to illustrate versus what is available, as far as the data that's there, and to be able to determine if their request is going to be feasible to do. Now, you can get videos in different ways. Is that correct? I am not quite clear on what that question is. Fair enough. I can do that a lot. Let me ask you this way. You have mentioned pulling videos off of DVRs and devices. Ring. There's all kinds of ways you can to pull video. But when you pull video, can it be packaged differently as far as consumer use? Absolutely, yes. And sometimes it comes in a format that can be used in all different kinds of ways. And sometimes it comes in a particular software program that it has intended to be seen through. Am I asking that right? Or you are? Typically, what a lot of the systems will do is they will allow you to export the video in what's called a proprietary form. They will include the video data in a file along with the playback software. So all you can do once you get the optical disc or the USB drive, you can then click on that player and point it towards that video file and it will pop open and play. And some players have the ability to I don't want to say manipulate, but you can adjust the view or can play it faster or you can play it slower or you can freeze frame it. So it will have some kind of functionality to do that in its native format. And in this case, is that how the video that was brought to you? It was in a proprietary software system, a player, if you will. Yes. Were you able to take time and view the videos? I did. Were there 5 different videos of relevant time from different cameras? Yes. Mr. Mitchell, all right. At this time, the state will offer states exhibits 5 through 9 through stipulation. Mr. Shook, Your Honor, we've seen these and have no objection. The court states 5 through 9 are admitted. All right, Mr. Porter, I want to talk to you a little bit about these videos. Mr. Mitchell, Your Honor, permission to publish? The court, yes, sir. Are you plugged in? Mr. Mitchell, no. I want to make sure whatever is supposed to be up before I do that. The court, okay, let me know when you are ready. Mr. Mitchell, okay, I think I'm ready. And may I approach judge? The court, you may. And then he asks, and Mr. Porter, I'm showing you what's been marked at States Exhibit 5. What do we see in States Exhibit 5? States Exhibit 5 contains basically an overview of it looks like what appears to be a football stadium with half of the field visible from the 50-yard line to the end zone and approximately half of the running track around the field. Okay, and now you are not familiar with this particular area. You didn't go out and do any independent research of the scene or anything like that. Is that correct? I did not. Mr. Mitchell. Your Honor, at this time, the state is going to ask to publish already admitted States Exhibit 1 through a blown up form board. Mr. Shook, no objection. The court, all right, you may publish. So I don't block anybody. I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 1 for presentation purposes and as you have seen this image before. This is the first time that I've seen this, yes. With regard to State Exhibit 1, like you said, you have never been out to the stadium, correct? That is correct. Looking at States Exhibit 5, just so we can orient the jury. I muted it. Go ahead. With regards to State Exhibits 1, can you see the video board behind the end zone? Yes. On States Exhibit 5? Yes. Looking at States Exhibit 1, can you see the image of the video board and a set of bleachers? I am going to, if I'm looking at this up being north on the west side, yes. All right, hold on, y'all, because now I want to go to the actual exhibits. Exhibits, photos. But see, that's the thing, because now I don't know. Oh, stakes exhibits. Hold on, y'all. Okay. All right. So this is States Exhibit 1. So hold up. Let's see if we can add. Okay, hold up. So y'all can, because like me, I am a visual person. So, all right, let's see how it looks on y'all screen. All right, there we go. I think that works out. Let me see. Now they said States Exhibit 5. So that's 2, 4, and this is, oh, that's 13. Where's 5 at? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Huh, that's interesting. 30, 31. Oh, look. So I know that's States Exhibit 1. But I don't see 5, not unless 5 was a video. Let's go here. Audio. Well, let's keep reading. And that's why I said I should have we're just gonna keep that one on the screen so we can look at the whatchamacallit. All right, okay, looking at States Exhibit 1. Okay, can you see the image of the video board in the set of bleachers, I'm going to, if I'm looking at this up being north on the west side, yes. Okay, all right. Mr. Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen, can everybody see that? So when we take the first look, this video, is this what you mentioned as far as a video coming into proprietary software? Yes. Do you know what was the resolution of this video? It's the video. Hold on one second. I know this being a video, a pre-recorded video, will be all right. Because now, trying to see. See, that is the thing. The way that they have it on here. All right, we might have to go back and see. All right, so what was the resolution of the video? It was 3840 by 2160. That equates to 8,000. Well, 8.4 megapixels, or what's commonly referred to as 4K. Is that a good video as far as surveillance video? Is that poor quality? It is good quality. Okay, now with regard to proprietary software, that means that when we watch this video, it plays in that software. We are not playing it on player or computer plays. Is that correct? That's correct. The video isn't encapsulated or is being displayed in that software natively. And so with regards to angle, we talked about this. The angle, obviously, you can see what I'm going to say, the soft bleachers in that video or in that image. So does that mean it's coming from across the football field toward other bleachers? Yes. Is there something you can do to make that video or any different with regards to resolution or angle? Yes. And what, for you start working on that video, can you do in that, or do you have to put it in something else? I typically will utilize forensic software to do these actions. But with regards to starting off, this is the video, the way it comes to you for you to be able to view it. That's correct. Now, with regards to the way that video plays, are there timestamps on the video? There are. Can you talk to us about the timestamps within a video and the accuracy, and kind of in your line of work, what those mean to you and how accurate those are? They can be anywhere from accurate to wildly inaccurate. It just depends on the system and the person maintaining the system. Okay, in this case, we have encountered a at the bottom, and that, I guess, that's showing the current time. Yes, and then within the player, there is a bar at the bottom, and that shows the time. Yes. And then, like right now, I've got the player at 9. Well, looking at the player at 9:49 a.m. on the player, does it have a different number on the actual clock on the image? It does. Okay, so even within this system, we are off on time. Somebody is off on time. Correct. With regard to your work on this case, and you talked about a lot of different stuff you were able to do in other types of cases. With this, after reviewing this video, what is your opinion, or where you are asked to identify, like, talk about a couple of different things you've done in the past? Were you asked to do any type of forensic work on height? No. After reviewing the quality of the video, were you asked to do any type of work as far as identity formation? No. Okay, so with regards to your work and what you did, You are not going to be, just so that the jury knows, you are not going to be looking at this saying this person is this person and I can make identifications in court. This is the video is what this video is, and then you worked on it to try to create some zoom in and maybe some magnification and spotlighting to try to help us watch that, I guess, better. Correct? Okay, in order to do that job, where you presented some individuals that you may not know who they are, but from us, we said that they may be people of interest in this case. Yes, Mr. Mitchell, may I approach Judge? You may. I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 2, 3, and 4, and are those just zoomed in pictures of individuals from the original videos that Frisco provided? Okay, so if we go to the, I'm gonna go to the videos, guys. So I'm going to, so this is 3. I'm gonna turn it around right quick. So that's 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. And the forensic technician, he said that they are. Mr. Mitchell says, we offer states exhibits 2, 3, and 4 at this time. Mr. Shook, no objection. The court states 2, 3, and 4 are admitted. Mr. Mitchell, permission to publish, Your Honor. The court, publish what? Mr. Mitchell, 2, 3, and 4. The court, okay, granted. All right, so Mr. Porter, when we start looking at these pictures of individuals, you don't know who these people are. Is that correct? I do not. With regards to States Exhibit 2, other than, I guess, you saying if I could refer to somebody as the victim, does that mean you know whether they are the victim or not? No. Just like I could refer to somebody as suspect and you wouldn't know whether they are a suspect. That's correct. With regards to image in States Exhibit 2, I guess then in States Exhibit 3, two similarly dressed individuals, what was kind of differentiating features we found between the person in States Exhibit 2 and States Exhibit 3 just for identification purposes? It would be footwear. See? If y'all see, I don't know which one is Hunter. Oh yeah, this is Austin because I remember seeing Austin's shoe on the ground. Austin, Hunter, different shoes, different shoes. I wonder if I can. Usually I could put it in book format, but we ain't got that. I'm gonna just do it like that. Hopefully y'all can still see it. All right. Okay. The individual in States Exhibit 2 clearly has, and I'm going to say gray New Balances, and then States Exhibit 3, we've got somebody, the image isn't really great, but has some different coloring on, at least some white tennis shoes. Yes. The court. Mr. Mitchell, pull the microphone toward you, please. Mr. Mitchell, yes, Your Honor. And then in States Exhibit 4, which would be this one. Again, I think we use the term suspect with regards to the person in State Exhibit 4. Was that a person of interest we asked you to review the video on? Yes. And would State Exhibit 4, I guess best description, gray top, black pants? Typically on colors, they can be subjective, especially to the person and or the system recording it. I would say light toned top and dark toned bottoms. Okay, great. All right. Well, then going back to States Exhibit 5, you told the jury that we have been given 5 different camera angles from Frisco ISD. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. We have one. Now I have four. I have four videos. Hold on, let me go to the website right quick. I downloaded four videos. One, two, yep. So let me look in each folder. So exhibit one, that's the East Stadium, east side of the stadium. And then we have the Northeast Stadium entry. And then we have, okay, so the West Stadium camera, and those are body worn. So that's already three. Okay. And then we have the football field, the parking lot. Um, oh, this is State Exhibit 5. Whew. Going through this, y'all. Going through this. Hold up. I'm going to pause it. All right. Because I want you guys to be able to see what I am seeing. So let's replace this with this. All right. You know what? I might have to add another screen. Where's my PDF at? All right. Gonna have us a little dandy time on this screen. And to be honest, let's just do it like this. Bam. All right. We winning now. We are winning. All right, let me get back to the transcript. All right, so yes, if we kind of walk through state's exhibit number 1, Mr. Mitchell, permission to. All right, guys. So that is what, let me go back to this and let's go to state. So this is state exhibit 1. I don't want to mess it up because, let me see. All right, so that's how it was initially submitted. All right. And just so the jury kind of gets a preview of what we are about to do, they are seeing what I am going to call the west side of the stadium, where you also provided a camera angle, basically two cameras that just split the field in half with the west side and the east side, correct? Okay. And then the additional three camera angles are such that you have two of the parking lot and I guess to the you are looking at the east side only parking lots outside the stadium. Is that correct? Yes, that if you're referring on States Exhibit 1, that would be as you are looking at the image, it would be on the right side. And then finally, another camera angle that's on what I'm going to call the entrance into that stadium again is on the right side. Correct. And so we're going to watch these original videos in the proprietary software and walk through what we can do just within proprietary software and then talk about what you are able to do and what you created. Is that fair? Yes. And we are also going to do it in two different ways. Did we talk about, I think you mentioned that the original of these videos was in what's called 4K. Yes. In order to be able to watch a video within that 4K resolution, does it, one, have to be displayed because we are using a computer, by a computer in 4K, and then also played on a 4K screen? Yes. Okay. So just so the jury kind of knows, because I know this is difficult, and especially if there are on this end of the jury trying to look at this video, we're going to play everything through that screen. But then we are going to bring in a 4K TV and allow the jury to look at it closer, just as 4K as well. Is that correct? Yes, sir. I think lastly, before we start watching the video, would it be helpful to you to have a laser pointer just in case we're talking about something on the video so I don't have to keep walking up and back and forth to you? It would. Mr. Mitchell, may I approach Judge? The court? Yes. All right. And prior to your testimony, were you able to enter the courtroom and make sure that the laser pointer works with this TV, and is it going to shoot off into the gallery and be disruptive? That's why I need to play these on a 4K TV. All right. Yes. Mr. Mitchell, Judge, permission. I would like to approach the witness and allow to you the use of a laser pointer on the screen. The court? Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Porter, these videos we've got, I think, were made of the relevant times. Is it fair to say that with regards to the incident that day and the little you know about it, would you say this is a long incident or a pretty short incident when you start looking at it? You know, persons of interest and ultimately an arrest? When you're looking at persons of interest and to the point of a person being arrested, it's relatively short. But the school district saved 45 minutes plus of a video from each of these angles, and so that's why we are seeing such a long time period. Is that correct? That's correct. All right, so looking at what is labeled State's Exhibit number 5, the West football field, and I'm going to forward this video to, well, we talk about some relative times, but as we, for the record, we are talking about this, I'm going to be referring to the time on the player's timeline. That is located in this area? Correct. And not the clock timeline that's on the actual screen. Okay, for the record, then it would be the timeline or the time displayed on the left side of the image, not the timestamp in the right side of the image. Correct. I think it would be apparent why in a little bit, but at least from viewing it, it seemed like the time at the bottom was more consistent throughout our cameras than the clock at the bottom of the screen consistent between cameras. Yes. All right, so I'm going to take your attention to on States Exhibit 5 to 9, roughly the 9:52. I am going to, if we play it just as is, this is the far away view. This is as best as we are going to get from this video, right? Prior to using any features on the video. So hold on, let me trying to take it to 9:52. What he talking about? All right, that's 9:52 right there. So we're gonna leave it like that. Oh, he said 9:52:45. Let me go. Let me get to the 45. I got the 46. That's as good as we gonna get. This is good we're gonna get right there. Okay. With regard to the person of interest, at least through your own work of this video, find someone that matched the description and could possibly be the person of interest or suspect with regards to this camera angle. Yes. And where in the video would you direct our jury to start to look at? It would be the upper right hand portion of the image. It appears to be an interest into the bleacher area. Okay, and fair to say, trying to do that, just start watching, from the distance that this jury is with a big screen, it is pretty hard to see anything. It is very difficult. Does this software have a zoom in feature? It does. In that, do you actually go to kind of the right corner and there is a couple of different icons and it actually says create Zoom window? Yes. And then using that, we get kind of a process that allows us to push it onto the video. Yes. And move it to the place we are interested in watching. That's correct. So now I go back to now, is this what you were talking about? Like, I guess looking at the zoomed in image on the right, would you expect that to be more of a less crisp? I don't know if crisp is the right word, but more or less crisp than the image on the left when we have pulled it up. It is going to be less. Why? Because as I stated earlier, you are asking the pixels to cover a greater area per pixel because you are zooming into it, and therefore the details start to get expanded and basically washed out or are going to get fuzzy. But with regards to staying in the proprietary system, this is going to be the best we have within that software. Yes. So 952, I'm sorry, 44. Do we see again? We are not making identifications, but at least someone, I guess you said, whose clothing matches tones of the what I'm going to refer to as the suspect that you were states exhibit 4 that were shown. Hold on. So let me go back to this. All right. So I'm going to go to the PDF. All right. So what they're saying, the person of interest would be the individual with the dark pants and the light tone shirt. So I'm like, even if they did this, so that means we would have to zoom in, like literally. Can I even zoom in it on this thing? I don't know. Oh, wait, that says zoom to fill. I don't know about that. Well, I guess because if we play it, I guess you can kind, but you really would have to like really dig into it. So if I play this, I'm gonna go back to what they say it was 52, 52, 45. I'm gonna play that right here, 46. See, all you can see is just people walking. Oh, do I see somebody coming out? Like you can see people walking, but you wouldn't be. Now I don't see anybody with a light tan shirt just yet. Okay, just gonna keep it there for whatchamacallit. But this is States Exhibit 5 that I'm on. Okay, so yes, and what was that? Does the suspect appear to do at this point? He is standing in the he is standing in the entrance at the bleachers, and he appears to be just looking around. Okay, let me back up so we can start it. If I back up to 9:52:39 and let it play. I mean, I'm going back. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm like, they're just gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch some videos. Okay. So I will also ask you, does it appear that there is something in his hands? Yes. And then where did the person go after looking around? He goes back down the entrance. And based on your viewing of the video provided, was that an R in the totality of the videos, was that the first opportunity that for you to identify someone who could be the suspect in the case? Yes. Approximately 3 minutes later, do we see that individual that the court stop for a second? And then it says the individual that could stop. Juror, I would like to excuse myself. The court. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in recess. No one is allowed to leave except for the jury. We will be in recess for 5 minutes. Bailiff, all rise. And I guess the jury was not present. All right. The court. All right. Actually, this is probably a good time to take a break. Let me say something that I have not had to say earlier. The court has issued an order in regard how to respond and act in the courtroom. I have seen some people talking. I am not going to call you out now. If I see it again, I'm going to excuse you from the courtroom and you will not be allowed back. Period. Everyone is excused for about 10 minutes. You are going to have to rescreen when you come in. If you decide to leave, you are excused. All right, so recess and proceedings. Court, everyone be seated. Bench discussion. Mr. Mitchell, judge, is that okay? I don't know if it will help or not. The court, no, I don't think people can see it. You don't. Why don't you pull it this way? Because otherwise you are staring at other people's heads, and then turn it. I think it's stay ready. Ms. Mitchell, yes, Your Honor. The court, is the defense ready? Ms. Shook, yes, Your Honor. Okay. I have to think about saying Mr. Shook. Okay, yeah. The court, bring in the jury. I am going to caution the audience one more time. We'll break at 12 noonish for lunch. Bailiff, all rise. The court, hey, I prefer y'all remain standing until I seat everybody. It makes it easier for people to come in and out. All right, jury present, the court, everyone be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I said 5 minutes, and I usually mean 5 minutes, but I thought it would was a really good time for everybody to take a break, so I apologize. It is going to happen every once in a while, but I didn't mean to say 5 minutes and not do 5 minutes. We are ready to continue. Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, thank you, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Porter, I think where we left off, now we have adjusted another TV so that maybe the jurors can see it a little bit better, depending on their seating. I think where we left off was right at, you had mentioned 9:52:45 being the first time we see the person matching the suspect's description, leave that covered entrance and walk out, look around and go back in. Correct. 4 to 9:55, roughly 3 minutes later, we do catch that what you believe to be the same individual a second time. Yes, you will observe him coming up the entrance into the stadium. So I am going to put it at 9:55:43. Let me go to this because really, okay. I want to make sure because I have not. Nope, that is the right video. Yep, that is the correct video. Hold on, let me see. That's the east side of the stadium. Where's that other video I seen? The west side of the stadium camera. Oh, see, that one is zoomed in. This is magnified. Hold on, I want to see if I see. This is the magnified part of it. Oh, wait, can y'all even see? Hold up. Let me make sure y'all can see it while I'm sitting here. Oh, yeah. So y'all can see it. Good. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to play it. And it's crazy because I didn't see that from far, far away. But once we put that magnifying portion of it, then we can see it. And that was it. All right, so I'm just going to go back to the other video. And I exited both videos so we can have that on the screen. Southeast. Well, I tell you what, we are really analyzing this stuff, y'all. Okay, let me do this. And I'm just gonna put it at pause. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it right there so we can have something on the screen. All right, so I got everything. Cool. I know I try to do it without interruptions, but I also want to ensure that you guys can actually have the visuals on there. All right, so now as I play this, does the player allow zoom in feature to move as the video plays? It does not. Would you have to physically move your area of interest, which is denoted by the yellow box? So if I move this yellow box as the video plays, you can actually follow this individual within the zoom capabilities of the software. Yes. And so what time does it show as far as the person exiting the far right side of the area? This video moving toward the east side of the stadium. He leaves the field of view of timestamp 956. It shows 95607. So the individual comes out, walks past those two tents, going to the right of our range of view on that video. Correct. And we'll get to it in a second, but this is the one of the videos that you said, hey, I may be able to zoom in and make it at least a little bit clearer, more clear what we see on that video. Yes. I want to take your attention next to States Exhibit 6. Also, when we are playing these in the proprietary software, it takes a little bit to load. It does. Now looking at States Exhibit 6, which side of the football field is in States Exhibit number 1 we are looking at now. Okay, so let me go to 1. And then let me pull up what it says, State Exhibit 6. I need to find out which that one is. 2. Here we go. So I'll do it like that. All right, so I have 6. Okay, so So as you are looking at State Exhibit number 1, which is the picture of the football field, it would be the right-handed side of the football field. So we move. We're looking at the left side. Now we're looking at the right side of the State's Exhibit 1. That's correct. Looking at the video. Now looking at this video, there is a gap. A little bit of gap between where those camera angles start from. Yes. But which direction was the image we are moving in? And I'm going to say from far left, well, which direction on the west side was the individual moving? He was moving towards the right in the image. So that would be towards the beginning or the left side of States Exhibit 6 that we're looking at now. Correct. And just to again point out the differences in the clock, we started the other video at 9:49:55 and the screen clock time was 9:47. This one we have got it's 9:49:51, and our screen time on this one is 9:43. I see what they're saying. If we look at the right hand corner, you can see it says 9:43. So those, like you said, the clocks can be real off. That's correct. With regards to the other two people of interest, you had noted the victim and another person dressed kind of similarly, and we had talked about their shoes. Yes, I am going to take this video or state's exhibit to 9:52:59. Let me see. 59. Okay, I'm gonna pause it there. Pause it there. All right. And now that the jury kind of understands how the feature works, I'm going to zoom in towards the entrance of the right side of the video. And if you have you got your pointer? Could you point? Do we see that person of interest that I'm going to describe as the victim? Yes, he is located in the center left of the image, just below the limb of the tree. Child. Oh yeah, because at this point, people were trying to hold it. Okay, so if y'all can see, he's running because I'm tracking him at the top corner. I see him running. He runs and then he stops. So he literally stops up under this first big tree right here. So at this point, he is right here. All right, so let me get back to reading. So using the timer stamp, what time do we have him roughly entering that stadium at 9:53:06, and then behind him, that second person of interest dressed the same, except for the shoes. Oh, okay, I forgot the time difference. The times are different. So using the timer at the bottom, what time do we have the persons of interest, the victim arriving to the yellow tent with the big M on it? About 9:54:16. Okay, Mr. Porter, we are starting to watch this now. We have watched it from what you said, 9:54:16, and now we are not at 9:55:51. Are you seeing a lot of movement under the tent, people running around, standing up, anything like that? No. I've stopped it at 9:56:12. If you would, for Mr. Porter, if you would for me, Mr. Porter, do you mind looking at that? Watching the tent, kind of the top area, you can, like you said, you can see some figures. Can you see kind of the bleachers, kind of above where it appears that there are people? Yes, the area above where the people are sitting, you can see the bleacher material. I mean, like you really gotta see, because like, look, like you really have to zoom in to see exactly what was going on. You really gotta see. I'm just over here looking. Okay, if you would watch that area for me and see if you see any movement. Yes, stop. Let me back up. And as I go frame by frame, do you actually, if you don't mind, point out to the jury what you are seeing and why you told me to stop? You see someone enter the frame of the field. of the view of the camera from the left side of the image. And do we see that movement? Yes. Okay. So that's at, now I am rewinding it and we see the movement at the top, 9:56:14. Well, first off, let me start here. Is that as far with the inconsistency of the timers, is that roughly about the same time, real close from the timer perspective, of when we saw the suspect exiting or going to the right far end of the west video? Yes. So does that match up the same time period as we would expect him to enter the far left side of the video? Yes. Okay. When we see that movement right there at the top part of the bleachers, we are saying 9:56. I think you said 9:56:14 or 9:56:15. Is that roughly 2 minutes after the victim and the people he was walking with entered the tent? Yes. So 2 minutes, the victim being in the tent prior to the suspect, at least movements that coincides with the suspect arriving in the tent. Approximately, yes. So that we can watch this without having to do it again. The next relevant time in there, we start looking at somewhere by time of the 10 o'clock range. So, Mr. Porter, while we are watching this video, is it worth it just to let this play so we can see at least the movements underneath the tent and kind of what's going on? I believe so, yes. Mr. Porter, I am stopping it at, we've gone now from 9:56, roughly 15 to 10 o'clock. Have you seen anything indicative, Lord? I mean, lots of movement from underneath that tent, bystanders reacting to something going on in that tent at any point so far? No. In fact, we see multiple kids with backpacks walking by in front without stopping, without turning and looking up, just walking in front of the tent. Is that right? Yes, sir. Now we are at 10 o'clock and 10 o'clock with 41 seconds. Again, have you seen any quick movement, any of those individuals, at least from what we can tell, popping up, moving around or running away, or bystanders stopping and looking up like a noise affected them? No. At 10 o'clock and 47 a.m., we've got what looks that appears to be an individual just starting to walk off from underneath the tent. Yes. All right. Now I want to go back to 10 o'clock and 48 seconds and ask if this is roughly the time that we first seen what I would call quick movement underneath the tent. If you could show the jury where you are looking. Oh, let's go back and play some of these. So now we see the people walking on the walking. Somebody walk. So yeah, I can see their time stuff is quite different. And I'm just paying attention to the top left hand corner of the screen. Sorry, I'm just going through the videos so you can see a lot more people up under the tent than was earlier. Okay, so around this time, so if we're looking, and you see I was like, I don't know if y'all can really see it on my screen. We're looking at that top left-hand corner. That top left-hand corner. And then you see Karmelo. So did y'all see that? Sorry for my dogs barking, y'all. So I'm going to pause it right there. All right, so let's get back to the scripts. Okay. So they backed up frame by frame. What is that? What is that draws your attention right at the 10, roughly 10:48. It appears that a lot of persons under the tent appears to push another person that's located under the tent. Does it look like it is movement to the right and then movement right back to the left? Correct. And then what do you see at the very top of the tent? At 10:53, you see a person of interest or the suspect leave the tent area and goes upwards in the bleacher area. Okay, so now just so we are clear on relative time here, you had mentioned, we had who I am identifying as victim and some friends. They got there around 9:54:15 on the timer. 2 minutes later at 9:56:14:15, 2 minutes later, we believe we see movement, a possible suspect, and then at 10 roughly 48 seconds, we see movement back to the right and then back to the left. Is it fair to say that's about 2 minutes of all of them being there, and then 4.5 minutes later we saw the movement you just described? Correct. So a total number of 4.5 minutes where both the suspect and victim could have been underneath the tent. Yes. Man, let me just keep reading. All right. And if you would, show us the person of interest that you are focused on at this point in the video. He is in the area just above the tent top. And let me just make sure. Okay. So let me kind of scroll because everybody. Okay. So pause. So right there by the tent. Okay. And I'm going to do my best. Just to save the surprise for later, one of the things that you are able to do with your software, instead of having to manually zoom it in like I am having to do to try to watch this in the first go round, you actually created a video where you can zoom in and track by a lot finer than what I am able to do. Yes, and that's where we see them actually zoom in and they put it like a little circle to kind of track the motion of that person. That's what they're talking about. So in regards to, we'll watch yours in a second so we don't have to watch it this way, but with regards to what we see in State's Exhibit 6, we saw a person come up, run down out of the bleachers, and State's Exhibit 1. Mr. Mitchell, if I may judge, which direction from the bleachers, left or right, does the suspect run? In State's Exhibit A, he appears to run towards the right. And as we already discussed, running towards this way, and we'll look at the camera view in a second, but it is your understanding that this is the entrance right there, right here. The only way people are getting in and out of the stadium. He runs this way towards that, where that entrance exit is. Yes. All right, I'm going to show you what has been marked as State Exhibit 7. It will take a second to load. All right, so I'm going to show y'all. But see, that's the parking lot. It says State Exhibit 7. Did he mean to say 7? Let me see. All right, looking at this is a fair way to say this is from the view, I guess, orient, if you would. Do you see that building kind of to the top right? Yes, sir, to the top right corner of the exhibit. Looking at State's Exhibit 1, does that appear to be the building on the right? Kind of in the middle. I'm not about to show y'all the video, but it's just a video of the building in the parking lot. Kind of the middle, kind of in the middle, so the camera angle is coming in this way. Yes. All right. I want to take your attention to 9:50 on the timer. That's as close as I can get. And see, if you don't, can you see the individual is moving? So the zoom is over here on the kind of top left corner of the parking lot. It looks like to the left of the stadium. And then if you would point to where you start to see the individual moving. In the zoomed in image, there are approximately the front of the dark colored vehicle. It looks like on the sidewalk. Hold on, let me pull this video. I'm gonna pull the video up because I'm like, wait, what? Oh, okay. So that I see what they're saying. So they're trying to. So this is the interest over here. So they're trying to say it was like he was trying to come out the entrance. That's what they're trying to say. I don't see. That's interesting. I'm just going to pause it there. But it will be the top right hand corner that we're actually looking at. Do we actually see kinds of two groups of individuals, one in the front and one kind of by the tree? Yes, Mr. Porter. Does that appear to be our victim and his twin brother walking from the middle school? I guess you don't know where the middle school is, do you? I do not. At least the victim and his twin brother walking into the stadium. Okay, what time frame did they say? 9:50, 58. Let me see if I could put that on there. 9:50. But I forgot that the timer is kind of different. Oh wow. 9:50, 58. Are they supposed to be walking in right there? That's interesting. Yeah, to know that our timestamps is off as well. I'm gonna have to look at this some more. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Let me see. All right. I will pause at 9:53 and oh wait, hold up. Yep. All right. I will pause that at 9:53:09 and we have victim, brother, and teammates or friends. They are entering into the stadium. Said 9:53. Well, I don't have that because this says State Exhibit 7. I think they probably, I won't be surprised if they mark these wrong. But I know that the timing is different. So I'm going to have to go back and look and see exactly what time that is. All right, so that's correct. Now I'm going to forward to 10:05. So roughly that is, what is that, 12 minutes? Approximately, yes. And looking at the left part, the left far part of the screen, I'm going to ask if you see something around that time. Can you look at the top left part? Does a vehicle start to enter the screen at 10:05? Kind of. I am not understanding what you are. Mr. Mitchell says, may I approach, Judge? The court says you may. I want you to look up here, Mr. Porter. So now it is 10:05:26, but at 10:05:25, we have a white vehicle entering the screen at that time. Hold on, child. Because now, where's the white vehicle entering the screen? And you talk about this white vehicle looking like a Honda right there. But where the truck is driving in front of. I think that's what they're talking about. All right, let's go back. If you could back it up so I would watch the motion, yes. I am more interested in the time than I am. Wait, I am more interested in the time than I am necessarily the motion. You said we've got well, you can tell from viewing that what kind of vehicle it is. It appears to be a police vehicle. Oh, well, crap. I totally missed that. So where's the police vehicle at? Because I remember seeing that. Oh, now they said the white vehicle. So was the white vehicle a police vehicle? Because I'm looking for a police vehicle. So are they saying that white vehicle that was in front of the truck was a police vehicle? This vehicle up here? Hmm. Interesting. All right, let's get back on with it. So we've got a police vehicle entering. We talked about some of the times already, and we talked about, and again, these aren't exact. We are not doing minute by minute on these because of what the issue with syncing up, obviously. But if we stay within the time stamp within the software from this video, and we had the victim and his friends entering the stadium at roughly 9:52. I'm sorry, 9:53:09, and then 12 minutes later, we've already got police vehicles, lights, and sirens hitting the stadium. Lights, you can't tell if there is a siren because there's no audio. Gotcha. I want to show you what has been marked as States Exhibit 8. All right, if we use the same anchor point, of this building you identified kind of in the middle on the right side of the States Exhibit 1. Okay, so now this is the northwest side parking lot. And so once again, these, how can I say this? The times aren't synced, so we wouldn't be able to see Dilly Squat, to be honest, because the times aren't synced. All right. If we use the same anchor, I already read that. Yes. Can you point it? Can you point to it for the jury? It is located in the upper left-hand portion underneath some lettering in the image. And in fact, you can, if this is a big old press box, kind of the south end of the football field with those bleachers, you can kind of see that above that building. Is that right? That is correct. It is directly above the building. It is dark with the light front. So we know our view is kind of from the far right of this same entrance, now looking towards that entrance and that building. Yes. I'm going to start the video at 9:52:30. And I think it is pretty clear coming from the southwest that I'm going to call the southwest parking lot now to the northwest parking lot view to the left of the zoomed in portion. Do we start to see the victim and those same teammate friends just from a different view walking in? And it really is. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. But I know there's a purpose. I'm just gonna keep that up there. All right. Yes, the zoomed in portion on the left edge towards the bottom. There is a big sign right there that says they are walking past. Do you have any idea what it says on that sign? I do not. Now we are pretty close to the time that you gave me on the other video, 9:53. Is that correct? Yes. With all of them entering that stadium. Yes. And then just so that we can see it, when we start trying to look onto the track or the bleachers on this view, I mean, it is pretty good. Well blocked with trees. Is that right? Correct. If we go back to that 10 o'clock 48 that we had mentioned previously, where we try to zoom to put the zoom over by the bleachers, yeah, back it up. I'm going to try frame by frame back. Do you see the person? Yes. I'm going to, if you don't mind, can you kind of pinpoint the area we're looking? We need to be paying attention to watching this part. It will at first appear in this image just right of the tree on the bleachers, okay? And again, a lot of that angle blocked by trees except for kids starting to run in all different directions. Hold up. All right. So when did they start running? I mean, the trees are really obstructing, so you can't really see anything, to be honest. It's people going in, people going in, going out. So now I'm just trying to see if people are actually running. Nope. I'm just seeing people running in. Now I could see, like, you could tell there's movement back there in the trees, but you can't really see anything that I'm aware of. All right, so correct. And Mr. Porter, I want to show you the last original video from Frisco ISD States Exhibit number 9. So this is the last part. This is the actual entrance. So now you can see. Because I remember seeing all the kids and stuff. Kids were entering in. All right, things having a lot of kids run out. Okay, I'm just gonna pause it at that part. All right, so we've watched two different angles of the victims and friends, teammates walking into the stadium. Is this right there at the corner where the actual entrance is to that stadium? That's correct. A similar time here, 9:52, around 9:52:50. And is that the first image of the victim walking into the stadium? I didn't even realize that. Hold on, let's go. 52. You know, I keep forgetting that our the times is off. Because when they say 52:50, here I am at 52:50. All right, let me just keep reading. And da 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 da. Yes, again, if we zoom in, look at the footwear. We've got him wearing those gray tennis shoes. Yes. You know what? Hold it. We're just gonna have to speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. I forgot. Oh, nope, that wasn't them. This is gonna make me mad because I'm just like, at what part? At what part? Because that's a sign right there. Because then at this point, people are running. People are running. So it had to be. I'm sorry, y'all. I have to go back and look at these videos. This is what happens. All right, so now in this video, we have a little bit better ability to zoom in the con. Again, not as good as the East Stadium camera, but we have a little bit of ability to zoom in to see the bleachers off the distance and the track and the sidewalk next to it, yes. And then in this distance, you see that the yellow tent was that we were watching the rest the stadium. Can you see that tent? Oh yeah, you can. At the top of that, the very top of that gray tent, you can actually see it. Yeah, it can be observed in what I would consider the upper left hand portion of the image. So I'm going to fast forward this roughly 6 minutes later by the timer to 10. I guess if I go to 10 o'clock, fits, yeah, so it's off. That's really only 7 minutes. And I know it was quick, but did you see movement coming down from the bleachers? And I played this in the initial evidence that when it first came out. So you can actually see when the commotion starts, you can see people actually running. You can see the commotion where Karmelo was running from the bleachers over there on the sidewalk. All right, so and I know it was quick, but did you see movement kind of coming down the bleachers from around the area right there at 10 o'clock 55 or I said 10 o'clock 10:00:55 or 10:00:56? Can you back it up to 10:00:54 and allow it to play? Yes. Yes. Okay. If you don't mind, can you I am going to move it to where that individual is kind of, can you point out where yes, he is just underneath the edge of the tree, this location. So I'm going to back it up, and then I guess fair to say movement of the individual going down the bleachers towards the track. Yes. So does the individual appear to kind of, well, let me go backwards. Show us where you see that individual first, kind of. In this area, approximately center of the image. If I back up, I guess really do see, I guess my question would be, do you see changes in pace? I guess it appears to be yes. And does it appear like there is people chasing behind him? Yes. Okay, now then roughly 4 minutes from there at 10:05 08, does it appear the same? It is hard to see, but just to the right of that tent, it does appear that that same individual and then maybe someone in darker clothes is starting to walk around. Yes, that is this time. That individual looks like they had their hands in the air. Yes. Is that the same individual being escorted by police officers? Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Porter, those are individuals. Oh, I'm sorry. Those are the original videos and the original players. How many well, after viewing those, did you believe that there were anything you would be able to do with regards to any of those videos that would help us? The defense, the potential jurors may be able to take in that information. Yes. Was it all the videos or just some of the videos? It was just some of them. Which ones in particular did you think there may be something that you in the software might be able to help us with? The Stadium East, the Stadium West, and the Northeast entrance. Okay, so the one in the beginning where someone is coming out of the entrance and going to the right, and one where something was happening under the tent. The person, pushed one away, the person went away. And then this last one that we just watched from the entrance. Correct. And what did you believe that you could do with your software with regards to those images? I believe that we could use a magnification filter on the images. So basically zero in on the areas of interest and people of interest and be able to track them somewhat smoothly throughout the whole event. And in addition to that, putting a spotlight filter, which is basically an oval. So that's what we see when they zoom in and it follows them. That's the oval, which has increased brightness inside of it that the individual that I wanted to track and pay attention to. Okay, so let's break it up. What does the magnification, we tried to watch it zoomed and you saw me trying to move that zoom box. What does your software allow you with regards to magnification to do? My software is allowed. It gives you a point that you're interested in, basically a focal point for your filter to be applied, and it stays active when I am doing the magnification filter application. So as the person or the object moves, I can take that point of interest and keep it on that person or that object. And what you do, it is called keyframing. I tell the software my annotation is at this position. I advance one of my frames and I want to reestablish that annotation on top of the person or the object of interest. I will move that over and put it exactly where I want it. And then I will tell the software I want you to keyframe. So that gives the software a reference to move that annotation along with it. Now, when you do that, does that alter or delete the original video? No, the software always uses a copy. It leaves the original data alone. It will make a copy of the data that I'm requested to work on, and I work on that in software. We always leave the original as they are. And you did that on just one of the videos or all three of the videos, or I guess at least some of the magnification on all three videos that we're looking at in spotlighting. What is spotlighting? Spotlighting is basically it is an annotation that I place in the image to draw your attention to that person or that object attracted as they go throughout the image. I guess instead of you having to I'm sorry. I guess instead of you having to laser point it, that tracks the person throughout the video so that you are not having to stop and having to orient the jury. Oh no, follow this person? Correct. And when you use the software to do that, does the alter or delete the video? It does not. Mr. Mitchell, may I approach judge? The court? You may. Let me show you what's been marked as states exhibit 10, 11, and 12, if you recognize those. Okay, let me see what is 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so that's 13. All right, hold on, let's go to, it's going to be crazy if I don't have 10, 11, or 12. Because what's 10, 11, or 12? We don't have everything. We don't have everything. Because I'll go through all these video folders. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, I'm in my folder. That's why y'all can't see. That's the east side camera. That's the northeast entry. Body worn camera. Yeah. I don't see that. I do not see that. All right. Ask you if you recognize these. I do. What are these? Oh, never mind. I'm slow. Those are my work product that I provided to the district attorney's office. So these are videos that you just described for the jury, taking the original video in the software and pulling it out and magnifying it and spotlighting it. Correct. And how do you know what I'm showing you is actually, the thumb drive? How do you know that this is either what you have seen before or this is what that is? Because I have my initials on each exhibit as well as the date of yesterday. So you were able to view these and make your mark. Yes, Mr. Mitchell. Well, offer states 10, 11, and 12. Mr. Shook, no objection. The court states 10, 11, and 12 are all admitted. Mitchell, judge, I think we would like to do this where we can pull up on the screen. The court, I would. It is 11:45. We are going to go to lunch now. It is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go to lunch. You are about to be together for the first time after hearing evidence, or I guess the second time in a room after hearing evidence. I will instruct you, like I did yesterday, and like I will continue to do throughout the entire trial. You are not allowed to discuss this case with anyone, including amongst yourselves, period. You are not allowed to allow yourselves to do any independent investigations with regards to the law or the facts of this case or communicate anything that you've learned today with anybody whatsoever. Does everybody understand the instructions? Okay, please follow the instructions of the bailiffs. The jury is excused. The bailiff, all rise. The court, sir, you may step down from the witness stand. The witness, thank you. The court lets the record reflect the jury has left the courtroom. Anything on behalf of the state? Mr. Mitchell, no, Your Honor. The court, defense. The defense? Mr. Howard responds, no, Your Honor. The court, we are going to say about 45 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, the bailiffs are going to instruct you how to leave the courtroom. Please follow their instructions. We will be in recess for 45 minutes. All right, y'all. So that is, I'm going to put a stop to segment number 1 and follow back for part 2.